In the shadowy depths of jungles across Central and South America, something unsettling is happening. Something not out of a horror movie, but straight out of a science fiction thriller. There's a war going on, a battle between a tiny parasitic worm and an unsuspecting tribe of ants. And the worm is winning in the most terrifying way imaginable by turning its victims into fruit. Imagine being an ant just minding your daily business of gathering food for your colony, when suddenly you stumble upon what looks like a tasty treat, some berries lying around. Here, it grows, reproduces, and lays its eggs, which are then passed on to the outside world through the bird's droppings. Here they set up shop and start their sinister work. Their usual matte finish turns into a glossy sheen, further enhancing their resemblance to fruit. It also messes with their behavior, making them act natural, almost unnatural. Infected ants become sluggish and less defensive, wandering around in exposed areas. The perfect setup to be spotted by a hungry bird. They swoop down, take up the ant, or what used to be an ant, and eat it. The ants, too busy tending to their colony, don't realize they're being infiltrated. Well, that's the thing. This parasite has evolved to survive in a very particular environment. It relies on a specific set of circumstances to ensure its eggs are picked up by ants and brought back to their colony. Let us dive deeper into the fascinating world of parasites and the amazing ways they've adapted to survive. Some parasites are so specialized that they can only survive in one type of host. It starts out in the intestines of a snail, then moves to the liver of a grazing animal, where it grows and reproduces. Botflies lay their eggs on the skin of their hosts, and their larvae then burrow face down in the host's skin, sucking on its blood. The botfly larvae have hooks and barbs to help them stay attached to their host, and they can grow to be quite large, up to 2 inches long. When a cat eats a rodent that's been infected with toxoplasma, it ingests the parasite's eggs. The eggs hatch into male and female parasites that meet with each other, then head to the cat's brain, where they set up shop and start manipulating the cat's behavior. Toxoplasma releases chemicals that make the cat more interested in hunting rodents, which means more prey for the parasite. Its eggs are then passed on to other snails, and the cycle continues, from turning ants into fruit to controlling the behavior of their hosts. Parasites are a testament to the power of evolution. Take, for example, the lancet liver fluke, a parasite that lives in the livers of grazing animals. For example, the liver fluke exploits the fact that snails are often found in areas where grazing animals graze, while the lancelet liver fluke hijacks the snail's natural tendency to move to the surface of the water. By understanding these relationships, scientists can learn more about how parasites evolve and how they interact with their hosts. Like other flukes, it has a complex life cycle that involves multiple hosts. But the lancet liver fluke has a particularly nasty trick up its sleeve. Hosts are also constantly evolving new ways to defend themselves against parasites. And those parasites are constantly evolving, adapting and surviving in some truly astonishing ways. It's a never-ending arms race, and it's one that's vital to the survival of many species. When it's in the snail host, it releases chemicals that turn the snail into a kind of zombie. The parasite takes control of the snail's body, driving it to the surface of the water, where it can be eaten by a grazing animal. Liver flukes have evolved to release chemicals that manipulate the behavior of their snail hosts, driving them to the surface of the water, where they can be eaten by grazing animals. Others are more generalists, able to infect a wide range of animals. Parasites often have complex life cycles that involve multiple hosts, and they develop some truly astonishing ways to get from one host to the next. If the eggs were just scattered on the forest floor, they'd be vulnerable to all sorts of predators, ants, termites, beetles, even bacteria and fungi. The odds of them surviving long enough to be picked up by an ant would be slim. But by turning the ant's behinds into berries, the parasite ensures that its eggs are not just picked up, they're brought to a safe haven, a place where they'll be nurtured and incubated naturally, a place where the chances of survival are high. And the birds, well, they're just happy to have a tasty snack. It's a silent invasion, a slow takeover that plays out in the heart of the jungle. And here's the kicker. The parasite has ensured that the bird will swallow it whole, head first. This way, the bird swallows the unhatched eggs inside the ant along with it. The eggs, protected inside the bird's digestive system, hatch into male and female nematodes. They mate with each other so that the females are pregnant before they even leave the bird. Then they're expelled from the bird's body, along with a supply of nutrients from their host, and they wriggle their way into the soil below. Here they lay their eggs, beginning the terrifying cycle all over again. In effect, the parasite has turned its host into a kind of zombie, albeit a very colorful one. The ants have lost control of themselves, becoming puppets dancing to the tune of the parasite's whims. And if that wasn't enough, the parasite even seems to influence the way light bounces off the ants' exoskeletons, making them glimmer like a freshly picked berry in the sun. Sometimes it rewards the most outrageous strategies. Evolution has a funny way of working. By turning ants into fruit, this parasite has found a loophole in the bird's diet preferences. It's outsmarted its predator, using it as a means of transportation. And it's all done with such precision that it boggles the mind. They begin to manipulate the very essence of the ant, controlling its biology from within. As the parasite grows, it starts to change the ant's appearance. How can a parasite change the physical traits of its host so dramatically without killing it? And just how far can a parasite delve into the nervous and hormonal systems of another species? The answers, they say, could revolutionize our understanding of parasitism and evolution. Its black abdomen transforms into a vibrant red, shiny and smooth like a ripe berry. This change is not just for show. It's a crucial part of the parasite's plan. You see, ants are generally not on the menu for most animals, especially birds. They're bitter, they bite, and they're encased in a hard shell, making them not very appetizing. But the parasite has found a way around this defense. By turning the ant's abdomen into a bright red, juicy-looking berry, it makes the ant irresistible to birds. Suddenly, the ants go from being a no-thanks to a must-have on the bird's menu. These tiny eggs, smaller than what we typically think of as parasites, wait on the forest floor until they're discovered by a foraging ant. When the unsuspecting ant comes across these eggs, it thinks it's found a tasty snack. Little does it know it's picked up a ticket to a nightmare. The ant brings the contaminated dirt back to its colony, inadvertently infecting its entire colony. You bring it back to the nest thinking you've struck gold for your colony, only to find out it has a trap set by your own kind, specifically one of your colony members who had been taken over by a tiny parasitic worm. They're just doing what ants do. Picture a remote patch of rainforest teeming with life, home to all sorts of insects and creatures. A microscopic parasite called Myrmeconoma neotropicum is slowly taking over certain species of tropical ants. Among them are our unsuspecting heroes. The tropical ants going about their lives, building their colonies and foraging for food. But lurking in the shadows is our villain, waiting patiently for its chance to strike. That's exactly what's happening, and it's doing so in the most bizarre way imaginable. The parasite has evolved to hijack the minds and bodies of these ants, turning their behinds into brightly colored berries. Why berries? Because they're the perfect bait to lure birds, the parasite's preferred mode of transportation. Yes, birds are the key to this parasite's survival, and they have no idea they're playing a part in it. Now, let me take you back to the start of this terrifying tale. The life of this parasitic nematode begins in the guts of a bird. Once inside the ants, the eggs hatch into larvae and make their way to the gaster, the scientific term for the abdomen of the ant. But the parasite isn't done yet. It also changes the texture and behavior of the ants. But the parasite's tricks don't end at changing the ant's appearance. This transformation is such a sight to behold that scientists are in awe. It raises questions that have kept them up at night. When a bird sees these fake berries on the forest floor, it's like catnip to a cat. This intricate dance of infection and manipulation goes unnoticed for the most part. But why does the parasite need to control the ant's appearance and behavior so precisely? Why not just lay its eggs and let things take their course? This might seem like a drastic measure, but in the ruthless world of nature, it's just another day at the office. If you think that's the end of this tale, you'd be wrong. We're just getting started. There are various types of parasites, from the harmless ones that live on the outside of their hosts to the more sinister ones that dig their claws into the insides of their victims. Take, for example, the liver fluke, a parasite that lives in the livers of grazing animals. Its life cycle is truly bizarre. Then there's the botfly, a parasite that lives in the skin of mammals. But perhaps the most fascinating parasites are the ones that manipulate the behavior of their hosts. Another parasite that manipulates the behavior of its host is the Toxoplasma gondii, a parasite that lives in the brains of cats. You're also surrounded by a whole host of parasites. These are just a few examples of the many parasites that have evolved some truly astonishing ways to survive. What is fascinating about these parasites is that they've found a way to exploit the weaknesses of their hosts, whether it's their diet preferences or their natural behaviors. But it's not just the parasites that are evolving, so the next time you're out in nature, remember that you're not just surrounded by plants and animals.